Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC and this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm bringing you guys the match review of our 0-0 draw with Everton today. And yeah, you guys, of course, extremely disappointing that we didn't get the win today. If you guys had watched my Predict That 11 video, I basically did tell you guys how the game was going to go. I knew that Everton would approach the game in the same manner that West Ham did. I knew that there wouldn't really be much of a counter-attacking threat at all from Everton, and the number one thing I knew that Everton were definitely going to do, especially knowing that Morata wasn't going to be playing, which in a way did really cause us a lot of issues in a way, because we really didn't have that focal point up front. Because Sam Allardyce knew that Hazard would be playing up front in that false nine role, he knew that if he kept tight in the middle, if he made sure that the space was restricted in the middle, you know, you guys, I always make this point a lot. It's called Cantonaccio. I mean, I've completely butchered how it is, but you understand the basics of how you defend off the ball. You know, keep the tight, keep the middle very tight, and basically give possession in the wide areas out for free. Why? Because teams want you to have the ball out wide so you can put crosses in. Because really, if you're a wide player, you only have two options. That's either to put a cross in or play it back into midfield. So you can basically restart the whole thing. And that's what Everton did really well. And we really did struggle to break through them at times. It was frustrating. I mean, I'm going to get into the second half later on. But there was a few positives. One, I liked how we were more patient with our possession play. We weren't constantly forcing it through the middle at times. I think that was a factor. Was there enough quality at times? I'm not quite too sure. And if anything, there was one player who I felt really could have made a big impact in this game today if he had started, and that is Cesc Fabregas. And why do I say that? Because again, if you guys if you've seen my Twitter link now, I feel that we put too much responsibility on the front three. The front three can't do it all by themselves. I really think about it. I know Pedro didn't have his greatest game. It's common with him. I don't know why he's always immune to criticism. Willian, at times it was difficult for him and it was difficult for Hazard. But you guys really have to look at the bigger picture in this game today. What options do they really have? Whenever they get the ball, they've got two players on their backs at all times. They never collect the ball in many free spaces. And the only free spaces where they do collect the ball is very deep, far away from where you actually want them to be. And this is the issue, because then when you do have two players on each of our front three players, it makes it hard for them to link up, especially when there's no late man runs on the midfield to really move into those channels, be an extra man for them to play off, and then they can then move into space. And I really feel that Cesc Fabregas today would have been the key to that. I feel that Conte's, his mantra on balance can't work when you're playing against West Ham or Everton, because the West Ham and Everton, they're not playing with any balance at all. They're playing extremely defensively. Not even counter-attacking, extremely defensively. They barely put any people going forward throughout the game. They defended very deep in their own half. You can't have this balance against teams that aren't playing with balance in the first place. And I think that's what's costing us. I really feel that Conte and Cesc was enough in this game. Conte stops counter-attacks by himself. If Kante's the type of player, but if every team had them, that gives them more confidence to play. Imagine if Liverpool had Conte. They'd probably be much higher up in the league, single-handedly, just because of that one player. And I think with Cesc Fabregas in this game today, what he's amazing at is playing those vertical passes, which we just don't have. There's not enough vertical passes in our game. Everything can be a bit too sideways at times, and that's what really plays into the hands of these really uber defensive teams. And I think with Fabregas' abilities to make those intelligent runs in the final third, where how often do we see him nip in the opposition box? I never check how he got there with his runs. He's always just there somehow. That makes a massive difference, especially for that main guy, Eden Hazard, because Hazard, again, it's basically Hazard FC at this moment in time, which is a bit of a shame. He's got way too much responsibility on his shoulders in terms of having to single-handedly create things. I mean, he can't be the number one creator and then also get through on goal. And for him to do that, he needs that support around him. But again, as I'm saying, if Pedro and Willian are getting double marks and crowded out, that's limiting what they can do. So really, it comes down to needing an extra man attacking. One person made a point on Twitter, which is true. How many people do we normally have in the box when it came to those crossing opportunities throughout the game? Not as many. Of course, later on during the game, we were flooding more men forward, but then there's not enough people in the box. I mean, compare that to a Man City. Do you ever just see Jesus or someone by himself, or do you ever see times where there's not at least two or at least three players occupied in the opposition box. It's those kind of basic things that it helps you cause problems to the opposition defence and actually creates those scoring opportunities for you. And I think that's what we're lacking. 3 players against 10, it just doesn't work, especially when the wing backs don't play the most free-flowing type of, they're not told to play in the most free-flowing way. They have to, they know when they get forward is when the front 3 touch the ball. So it's not as if their movement is really unlocking Everton or creating space for the front 3 to cause havoc. And then, when you see the likes of Ibaka and Conte, sitting deep, obviously, they need to play that support role, because then when we are playing that possession back, they need to be the guys that we pass back to so we can then restart the moves. But I kind of think that Ibaka was told to push in a bit more, but he really didn't do that enough in this game. And I think, of course, his qualities, he's not amazing when it comes to playing an offensive way. And I feel that Conte really missed the ball today, not using Cesc Fabregas from the start, because he's the type of guy that his passing, his movement off the ball, he helps the attacking players play better. And it's no surprise that when we do normally score a few goals, it's when Fabregas is playing in the game. It was very frustrating. Of course, we did have some unlucky moments where, there was that one piece in the first half, some incredible defending by Everton where, they saved 2 shots that are basically goal-bound from going in. But again, you're looking at the stats today. I know we had a 70% possession. We can't care about that too much, because the most important stat was obviously having 25 shots but only 7 on target, and from those 7 goals on rebounds, and there were double saves, so they weren't like it was 7 individual clear-cut opportunities. It wasn't even like that. And I mean it was hard. Everton definitely made it hard, but a lot of you guys would have heard this point already, and I was stressing this before the season started in my season preview, that a lot of teams will be playing this style of way to stop us, as we were seeing last season especially, and I felt at times we were struggling a bit, and it's no surprise that this season that's something we're really struggling with. Again, I must say, certain players in the transfer market we didn't necessarily get. I felt that, as I kept stressing in my previous videos, if he had signed an amazing left wing back like a Sandro, and if he had signed someone like a Mahrez or Sanchez, someone that can cut inside from the right hand side, that could have provided an upgrade to how we could have played this style. Unfortunately, we weren't able to bring them in. There's still hope for maybe the January window or for next summer for that to happen, but at the same time, there were still some solutions in that team that can help you out in moments like this. I don't necessarily feel that because we didn't get the Sandros and Mahrez's, that's an excuse to play such a balanced, pragmatic style. Now, I'm going to get into the second half. It was kind of more of the same, and I must say I was really disappointed with Conte's substitutions. Personally, sometimes I feel that doesn't necessarily impact the game as much. Yeah, there's few opportunities where that has happened, but most times he isn't doing that enough with his substitutions. I think one, which a lot of us fans will probably agree with me, is bringing on Zappacosta at the end for what? Moses' delivery was actually good in this game. The thing is that Everton parked the bus, so it's hard to really find someone in the books. But then you're going to bring on Zappacosta, who's worse at crossing, to provide what? Now, I did, of course, it's not like there's many options on the bench, but I'm sorry, we can't be using age as a factor to not give someone like a Hudson-Odoi a chance. Hudson-Odoi isn't just he's not a Calvert-Lewin, this is what frustrates you sometimes with this league. You see guys like your Lewin who are very limited, playing regularly in the Premier League, and it's just like a Hudson-Odoi is 2 years younger and it's like another level compared to this guy. It's like a risk to use him in a game where we're trying to win it, I didn't see what the point of Zappacosta coming on. I didn't understand why Pedro had to come off for Cesc Fabregas. Honestly, I thought maybe Conte might have decided to take off Baka to play Cesc in midfield, because it wasn't as if there was any counter-attacking threat to worry. And what I can't understand is when you've got Conte and a back 3, surely that's enough to counter-attack with. That's 4 players behind you. 4. Why do you need another 2 in there to keep what solidity? You don't need to do that. And again, food for thought as well. We're trying to win this game because, of course, we're Chelsea. I think we all know realistically we're not going to win this league. But it's our approach to these games. It's our willingness to want to win it. We're a team that we don't accept a no. We never have accepted no's. We always go for it right to the end. But I don't know. I kind of think sometimes, why is this insistence on constantly using a back 3 at times? Now, I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section after this match review. Me personally, I'm thinking if we took off a defender and brought on, let's say, Mitchell, for example, another striker, a focal point to have up front with Hazard, Pedro, and Hazard, Pedro, and Willian, surely that would have been more positive and created more chances and opportunities for us, especially because Mitchell would have had support around him and he wouldn't have been isolated up front by himself. That's the type of positive tactical changes or substitutions that I want to see, because it's those types of positive tactical changes midway through a game that can give you the, and give you the agency to win a game. For example, you look at someone like a Man City. A lot of times they're constantly playing against your Evertons and West Hams nearly every single week, but Pep always finds a creative solution to get by it. And I kind of think with Conte sometimes he's not as creative with his tactical decision. Not even tactical decision making. His substitutions. I think with Conte, me personally, I felt that he doesn't maybe do enough to change the course of a game. Sometimes you have to be dramatic, you have to be creative, and I think Conte just prefers, he relies too much on keeping this balance. But as I've said already, we can't be relying on balance against teams like Everton's and West Ham's and Palaces that aren't playing with balance, because it's not as if they're flooding forward. I mean, think about it, parking the bus is uber negative. When you're seeing a team having 8 players in their own box, that is pretty crazy to think about something like that. And I didn't think he did anything to help our chances of getting something positive from this game, because in that last 15 minutes, all you were doing was spamming crosses in the box and just hoping that we would have got something. Now, really, with this game, we needed luck to win this game. And me personally, I've never liked relying on luck to win matches, because I think when you rely on luck, it means that your game plans just aren't working. Of course, luck can help you at times, but I think if you're solely relying on that, then it's not doing you any justice and it's not helping out the team at all, in my opinion. I don't know. I personally just feel that we didn't have to keep didn't need to keep 3 at the back, or 2 if we didn't need to keep Baka with Kante. I mean, this wasn't the game where Kante and Baka's tackling was needed, because if you think about it, whenever Everton were playing on the counter-attack, it was just long direct balls to Calvert-Lewin, bypassing our midfield, meaning that it was up to the defenders to stop the counter-attacks, which Aspie, Christensen and Rudiger were doing, which is more than enough. A lot of other teams, when they do play a bit of attacking football and expansive football, they're doing that with back fours. I mean, we're looking at the Liverpool and the Arsenal game yesterday. They're with back fours. We've got a back 3. Most times teams use 3's enough really to really give your team that platform to really attack and push forwards. And I think that, me personally, I feel we have the players in the squad who can make those changes, but sometimes I don't think that they're using a creative, not in a very creative manner to really overcome some of the difficulties that they face. I don't like sometimes 100% relying on individual talent. I feel sometimes this is what we do a bit too much, especially in regards to Eden Hazard. And I think too with our front 3, I think too many times it relies on individual talent, exceptional moments to really get us something. And I think that makes it very hard for players. And I think maybe that's why the consistency isn't always there, because if you're playing at a very high level, which is the Premier League, which is this is a ridiculous high level of football when you're playing in the top leagues, it is hard to have that consistency week in, week out, because teams are always going to be fighting for every single point in this country. And I think sometimes this is why I believe that systems can always make a player's life easier. It makes a player's life easier in terms of knowing where your partner's going to be, knowing what runs you need to make, knowing how to break down a team with this type of play or this move, knowing that, if this player A has got the ball and I know if I make this run, I know that I'm going to receive. That's the type of stuff that makes your life easier. And I think, when you look at a Man City, for example, you're not seeing them constantly winning games because of individual talent, individual moments of brilliance every single week. What's the most common goal they score? It's that low-driven cross into the box, and they've got like 3 or 4 players in the box to get on the end of it. That's what I mean by a team play, where the team knows how to break teams down, and this is why City have scored the most goals. I don't know. I think again, with Conte, he doesn't necessarily do things super quickly, but he does make changes. I'm thinking in the future, what kind of changes will he make to maybe overcome these types of moments? Because no one needs to tell him. The guy's won enough. He's been in football long enough to know how everything works. He's probably thinking in his head, these type of performances necessarily aren't maybe the best thing to do to break down these types of teams. What can I do to change things? Now, of course, it's going to be the January transfer window next week. There are going to be some players coming in. It seems like a left wing back will be coming in. Let's just, you know what? If there's one Christmas present I think all us Chelsea fans should pray for is Alexandro coming in. I don't care if he's not going to be in the Champions League. The whole point of him coming in now is so you can beat off competition from your Paris Saint-Germains and your Man Uniteds. And he's going to help us in the league a lot. Let's pray that that's the guy that's coming in. You know, let's pray that maybe there's another forward solution coming in as well. But, you know what, you guys, that's going to end today's match review. I want to hear some of your thoughts and opinions later on. What do you think on some of the stuff I've said? And, yeah, of course, you guys, I'm going to try... You know what, I'm going to be doing a Q&A live stream. I'll do this in the evening around 8 o'clock. I'm going to do a Q&A live stream. So if you guys want to ask me anything directly, send me a super chat. I'll answer it. And, yeah. And, of course, you guys, I'm going to try my hardest to prepare as many videos as I can over the Christmas period so I can just schedule them to upload. It's going to be hard because obviously I've got family commitments and seeing the Bay and, you know, seeing her family and all like that. So it might be a struggle to be releasing as much content, but I'm going to try my hardest. But anyway, I'm the FC. This is Blue Lines TV. Signing out.